Incarnation.
Katha. Narratives. Shubha. Auspicious. Leela. Adventures. Vidaptaha. Performed. Swaram. Pastimes. Ishvarasya. Of the Supreme Controller. Atma. Personal. Maya. Energies. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. O wise Sutta, please narrate to us the transcendental pastimes of the Supreme Godhead's multi-incarnations. Such auspicious adventures and pastimes of the Lord, the Supreme Controller, are performed by His internal powers. Please repeat, O wise Sutta. Please narrate to us. The transcendental pastimes. The Supreme Godhead's multi-incarnations. Such auspicious adventures. And pastimes of the Lord. The Supreme Controller. Are performed by His internal powers. For the creation, maintenance, and destruction of the material worlds, the Supreme Lord, Personality of Godhead Himself, appears in many thousands of forms of incarnations, and the specific adventures found in those transcendental forms are all auspicious. Both those who are present during the activities and those who hear the transcendental narrations of such activities are benefited. Is there some incense that's odd?
Yes.
Okay, so Shri Krishna, Shri Nityananda, Shri Advaita, Shri Sadhguru, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. So we are here in the introduction of the Srimad Bhagavatam, opening verses where the slider will see. So the sages have gathered at Naimisharanya. And Sutta Goswami has spontaneously arrived there, being guided by the Lord to this wise assembly of inquisitive sages, because whenever a soul becomes curious to know about the absolute truth, then Krishna makes an arrangement to give them the knowledge. So these sages, they've gathered, and they've gathered for the benefit of all humanity. Their intention is to perform a huge sacrifice, 1,000-year sacrifice, because it's the beginning of Kali Yuga. This age of Kali Yuga is a dark age. So that in this age, people have short lives, they're lazy, unlucky, misguided, and above all, always disturbed. We'll see that in the world, experience that in our own lives, in our own minds, right? Always disturbed. So the sages are thinking, how can we help these people? How can we help these poor Kali Yuga people who are so unfortunate and dull and disadvantaged in so many ways due to the atmosphere and just the situation. So they're really calling out to the Lord, like, we want to help the people, we want them to get the highest benefit, we want to understand how they can receive the highest goal of life, how they can attain the highest goal of life. And so they're not sure what to do, but they've been trained in how to perform sacrifices, these big fire sacrifices where you make a fire and offer oblations and swaha pouring into the fire. And so that's what they're doing. But then I think you already had that verse. Did you already have that verse? No, it's coming. No, we had that verse just recently where he says that. Yeah. Living beings who are entangled in the complicated meshes of birth and death can be freed immediately by even unconsciously chanting the holy name of Krishna, the holy name of Krishna, which is feared by fear personified. So they're coming to the understanding that the holy name is the Yuga Dharma, that the way out, the sure way of success, we'll hear later, the doubtless and fearless way of success for all in this age of Kali is a constant chanting of the names of the Lord. So Sutta Goswami arrives because he sees these sincere souls who are trying to benefit others. And now he's going to instruct them. He's going to narrate the pastimes of Lord. So they're asking for this. Right? They're inquisitive. So in this verse, they're appealing to him. Oh, wise Sutta, please narrate to us the transcendental pastimes of the Supreme Lord's multi-incarnations. So one thing about the Lord is that he has multi-incarnations. This is something very amazing that we don't hear about in other religious traditions. And that everybody, all of religious traditions direct us towards God, towards the supreme person. But there's not, the knowledge is not there that the supreme person has many forms. Right? He expands himself into different forms and he comes in different incarnations to this world and different universes. And actually he exists eternally in many, many forms on different spiritual planets and spiritual sky. Right? So beyond this material universe, there's the whole spiritual sky, which is much bigger than we have one universe. We're on one planet in one universe. And there are countless universes in the material cosmic manifestation. In fact, if you take like a big, huge, like burlap sack, like a big, like feed bag size sack, and you fill it up with mustard seeds, tiny little mustard seeds. So there's countless mustard seeds, zillions and zillions of mustard seeds that can fit in that bag. They say that's the number of universes, not just planets, but universes within the entire material cosmic manifestation. And yet this whole cosmic manifestation in the material world is just a tiny fraction of the total existence. So it's no more than 1/4 of the total existence. So the other 3/4 or 3/4 plus is the spiritual world. So in the spiritual world there are so many planets, and on all those planets there's a presiding deity or form of the Lord who is an incarnation of Krishna, right, in a Vishnu form. And then Lord Krishna also has his own spiritual planet, which is the topmost area of that spiritual world, topmost corner. And then in addition to those eternally situated multi-incarnations of the Lord, there are also incarnations in which the Lord appears in this material world to perform different functions. Right? For example, when there was a big flood, right? In Christianity, there's the story of Noah's Ark and the big flood, right? So in the Vedic tradition, there's also a big flood like that. And so at that time, there's also a boat on which there are some pure devotees who take responsibility for rescuing others and also particularly rescuing the Vedas, the Vedic literatures. Because the Vedas are the guidebooks for humanity, and without the Vedas, humanity is kind of lost, misguided. It's like you have some device and you don't have the manual, so you don't know how to use it. You're just sitting there, don't know the device, you don't know what to do. So here we are in the material world with our device, which is this body, right? And we don't know what to do with it. So we're just going around trying to figure out, oh, this feels good, oh, that sounds good. And then we're just getting ourselves inculcated in a lot of karma and repeated birth and death. So the Vedas give us the manual, like how to use this material body properly in a way that we can actually elevate ourselves, extricate ourselves from material entanglement, and go back to the spiritual world where we belong. So the Vedas are very important in the Lord. So he directed this sage, and I think his name was Satyavati, to rescue the Vedas. And then the Lord himself incarnated as a fish because it was a flood, right? So he came in exactly the right form in order to pull this boat. So he was a huge fish and he had a big hard fin on his back. And so they got this snake called Vasuki and they used him as a rope. And then they tied one end of him onto the fin of Matsya Avatar, fish incarnation of the Lord, and another to the boat. And then he pulled the boat to safety. So like that, the Lord incarnated to save the Vedas. And he takes different forms that are appropriate, right? There's another time when, so the Earth planet, now Earth is a very important planet because there are 14 planetary systems and the Earth is in the middle. So on the higher planetary systems, life is very nice, right? Especially Swargaloka, the heavenly planets. lot of sense gratification, everybody's very beautiful, there's no old age, there's no illness, and there's only death. But people don't think about that too much, right? Because they're too busy enjoying. So because the enjoyment, the material enjoyment is so advanced, at such a high standard, then people don't take spiritual life seriously because they're just like, hey, life is good, let's enjoy. And then on the lower planets, life is so bad, like in the hellish planets, people are suffering so much, and so much extreme pain and anxiety and agony that they don't have the wherewithal to like, ponder and meditate and inquire about the absolute truth. They're just like totally under duress at every moment. So then that planet is not suitable for spiritual understanding either. So higher or lower, they're both, whether it's extremely bad or extremely good, it's not great for spiritual life. But the earth planets are good because they're right in the middle. So we have just enough, peace and happiness that we can, have time to think. We can sit back and be like, who am I and why am I here? And we have just enough suffering and stress to impel us to ask those questions, right? Like, why am I suffering? And why can I never get the fulfillment of my desires? And right, and why are people dying? What happens after death? So it's a good balance, perfect balance. And so when the Lord incarnates, he generally comes most often to the earth planet. So we have again and again incarnations coming into this planet. And so the Lord also, he looks after this planet. He's very vigilant about what happens on this planet because this is a planet in which souls can most easily go back to God, which is what he wants. So there was a time in very ancient history that the Earth planet went out of balance. It went out of orbit, and different kalpas or different cycles of the 4 ages. It happens in different ways. But anyways, for whatever reason it happened in that particular age, the Earth went out of orbit and it went plunging down into the ocean at the bottom of the universe, which is called the Garbhodak Ocean. And it was submerged. So that was a big disaster for everyone. Because can you imagine the Earth just, like we freak out if we drop our phone in water or something. Imagine the whole planet like falls into water underwater. Like, oh no, everything's gonna be lost. So then the Lord immediately came and he came to save the Earth planet. So then he had to go down into the water. So this Garbhodak Ocean is considered to be not a very clean water. For whatever reason, I'm not sure, but it's considered to be like kind of dirty water. So if you go to a place like Vrindavan in India, anywhere in India, like rural villages and things, you'll see there are all these wild boars that go around, and they're going around in the fields, they're eating garbage and things, and and sometimes they'll go into the water and they'll be rooting around, like in the gutters and the drainage ditches and things where garbage flows, and they'll be rooting around in there looking for something good to eat. Okay. So the Lord, because he's thinking I need to go into this dirty water and root around and find the earth, so he took the form of a boar, because that's what boars do, they root around and find things and bring them up. So he took the form of a boar and he went down into the water. Boar means like a wild pig, so he went down there and he got the earth and he put the earth on his tusks. And then he brought it up and put it back in its place. So like this, the Lord comes in different forms that are appropriate in order to save the day. To it says Paritranaya Sadhunam Vinashaya Chaduskritam Dharma Samstapanartayam Sambhavami Yuge. To deliver the pious and to annihilate the miscreants, and also to reestablish the principles of religion. Krishna says, I myself appear millennium after millennium. So he comes in these multi-incarnations. And within each one of these multi-incarnations, he performs so many transcendental pastimes. So diving down into the Garbhodak Ocean, bringing up the earth and saving it, that's an adventure, right? It's going down into the unknown, it's like wild waters, that's an adventure. Or the fish also, he's coming, it's a lot of situation, it's like very dangerous and very fearful, and then he comes and saves them. So the Lord is very adventurous, and he's also very heroic. It's one of his qualities. He's considered what's his name? So it's Nayaka, yeah. It's like the greatest Nayaka, which means hero. So transcendental pastimes and very I like how Prabhupada translates Leela as adventures. So we usually translate the word Leela as pastimes. So pastimes sounds kind of chilly. It's like, yeah, the things that I do regularly, my pastimes. But adventures makes it sound more fun, more kind of like you get a sense of like, okay, this is going to be exciting. The adrenaline is coming up. We're going on an adventure. So the Lord is like that. Everything. The more you get into reading and meditating on the Lord's pastimes, the more you see that they're actually very exciting. Right? Like Krishna is very fun. He's a fun guy, and he has a lot of adventures. And he wants us to join his adventures. Right? He's inviting us. Come and join me in my transcendental adventures. You like adventure? Come join me on my next adventure. So that's why he comes to this world, actually, is to display his adventures, to display his adventurous nature and to attract us because we like adventure, right? Like if you've been, like right now, we're on this trip to California. So Ranamuki's never been to California, Pragati's never been to California. So they're going through their routine lives back in Dallas, getting up, going to morning program, going to work, doing the job, coming home, eating, hanging out a bit, going to bed, repeat next day, repeat next day, repeat next day. So it's like, and then after a while you get bored and everything becomes kind of just, monotonous and repetitive. And of course there's some little things that come up every day, it's a little different, but still same patterns. And then you start feeling like, my life, But then it's like, hey, Prabhupada Priya is going to California, let's go. So then it's like an adventure, right? And it's like, and then we go back and they're like just waiting for the next adventure. So that's the nature of the soul, is that we like adventure, we like variety, we like doing something different, we like, forging into the unknown and the unexpected, and with the sense of anticipation, like something wonderful is going to happen. I don't know what it is, but let's just brace ourselves and hope for the best. Prepare for the worst, hope for the best. So that's Krishna, because we're parts and parcels of Krishna, and Krishna has this adventurous nature. So we have the same. And our thirst for adventure is never quite satisfied in this material world, and because the adventure has to come to an end, right? We can only go on vacation every so often until we get back to our routine. But with Krishna, it's like one adventure after another. Every second is like another adventure. So that's him. He's the great adventurer. And the sages, they want to hear all about these adventures. And so another thing that is said here is that these pastimes are transcendental. So these are not material activities. They're transcendental. So everything that we do here is kind of sullied, sullied. It's kind of it's always covered by some fault, right? Like we came to LA last night, we were like, yay, we're here in LA, everything's going well, the flight's on time, but then we had a whole drama trying to connect with Vrindavan at the airport. I feel like we're walking and we're on this road and then the policeman's like, you can't walk there, come inside. Anyways, so there's always some like frustration involved, with our adventures because of the influence of the modes of nature. Okay, so these material modes of nature, they're always just kind of like what's the word? They're always just what's the word? Impeding. They're just impeding the fulfillment of our desires, that because the mode of ignorance just kind of like makes everything just kind of dark and stuck and depressing and slow. Yeah, so mode of ignorance can just throws a wet blanket over our whatever adventure we had planned. And then mode of passion, it like pushes us to be kind of like greedy and lustful and sort of like just puts a weird creepy tinge on everything. It's like you're trying to have a really nice transcendental time, and then lust comes in and this makes it kind of creepy, or, you become greedy and like try to get more and more, or you try to use the situation for some kind of material gain or material sense gratification, and then it all becomes kind of contaminated and selfish and starts feeling really icky. So mode of passion. And then mode of goodness is like, okay, mode of goodness is nice, like let's be regulated and let's do our duty. And let's, be kind and, gentle and thoughtful and things like that. So that's nice, that's good. But it's kind of like, yeah, it also has a little bit of a ho-hum kind of quality to it. Like, okay, yes, I'm a good person, I'm being kind, I'm doing my duties and everything's good. But then we can start feeling like, kind of like a little proud, that I really got it together and I always do the right thing. And look at these people who are not doing the right thing, I'm ashamed of them. We can start feeling a little proud and better than others. And then that leads us to, that brings in the influence of the, kind of like pushes us back into the lower modes. So it's kind of like this cycle where we're kind of getting out of ignorance, getting pushed by passion, finally coming to goodness, and then getting again contaminated in pride is a kind of ignorance that pulls us back down into Amadum. So everything that we do is influenced negatively, more or less, by the modes of nature. But Krishna's pastimes are all transcendental. They're not influenced by any of these things. So there's no tinge of any contamination, of any, ignorance or passion. So there's nothing that's ever pulling you down and holding you back. There's nothing that's like, impelling you forward, but in a selfish or, self-righteous mood. It's all just completely pure and transcendental and spontaneously driven and love and compassion that's pure, that has no tinge of selfishness, that is always seeking the benefit of others and the pleasure of the Lord. So Krishna's pastimes are very wonderful. And in Krishna, see, in our pastimes, sometimes we're always trying to get something that's good for us, but in the process, other people might get inconvenienced, right? We can never please everyone. And they say that you can please some of the people some of the time, and when they say what's that? You can please, is that some of the people? Anyways,
Please one person all the time or everyone some of the time.
but you can, anyways, the point is you can never please all of the people all the time, right? You always have to displease someone in our lives, in our so-called pastimes. But in Krishna's transcendental pastimes, everyone is happy, right? Everyone is happy. The devotees are happy. Even the demons, everyone is benefited. Even the demons are benefited. Krishna kills them. What happens? They get liberation. That was like the best thing that ever happened to them. So, yeah. So it says that Krishna's auspicious adventures. So because of their transcendental, they're shubha. They're very auspicious. So everyone is benefiting. And he's the supreme controller. So it's very wonderful to think that that such an amazing person who's totally transcendental, who has no selfish interest, who just wants to benefit everybody, who is adventurous and fun and playful and loving and compassionate and has such wonderful 64 transcendental qualities, that he is the supreme controller. Right? Because when we think of like having somebody over us, like a boss or a supervisor or, political authority or, the police or whatever, like people who have authority over us in our lives, we don't like it because we think that they're gonna like, impede our activities, or they're gonna stop us from doing what we want, or judge us or whatever, right? And because and sometimes they do. Sometimes there's injustices, right? Sometimes people are falsely accused, good people are put behind bars or whatever. So mistakes are made, and those people aren't very fun, right? Like when the police pull you over, it's like you're not thinking, "Oh, this is going to be fun," right? You're thinking, "Oh shoot, this is going to suck." So yeah, but why? Because most people who have authority over us, they're not using their authority to benefit us. They're using their power to control us and to enforce things on us that we don't enjoy. But Krishna, the supreme controller, yes, he's superior to us, but he uses his power, he uses his authority, he uses his control to help us. Right? Everything he does is benefiting us and uplifting us, purifying us, inspiring us, and trying to engage us in the most wonderful, transcendental, adventurous activities possible. Right? But we're so dull that we're just like, Krishna, nah, I'll just do my material activities. Anyways, I gotta earn money and I gotta get sense gratification. And I gotta try to keep doing all these things that have been frustrating myself for lifetimes. And yeah, so you just put you on the back burner for a while. And Krishna's like, it's stable. So he comes to this world to try to attract our attention. Right? He performs his transcendental pastimes. He descends in Vrindavan, and he performs his wonderful, playful childhood pastimes, and then with his friends, and all this little baby pastimes with Mali Yashoda and Nanda Maharaj stealing butter, playing the courtyard, and Damodar Leela getting tied up and pulling down trees, and the demigods getting liberated and all that. And then he goes up to herd the cows, and he kills his demons, and he plays with his friends, and they're just playing so beautifully, having forest picnics and playing all kinds of games. And then he has his pastimes with Srimati Radharani and the gopis, and dancing and meeting, under the full moon nights, and going for boat rides on the Yamuna. Engaging in so many very transcendental, pleasurable pastimes. And so he enjoys all these different kinds of relationships. And he's trying, in doing so, he's like showing us, he's like, look, this is real life. This is real enjoyment. Just join me. You can be like, you can serve me in different ways. You can be like a parental figure taking care of me, if that's how you want to relate to me. You can be my friend and play with me, and we can have all kinds of fun together. You can be my lover and dance with me and embrace me, and like that. So whatever relationship we want to have with Krishna, he's displaying all of those pastimes in Vrindavan. He goes to, and he's like, okay, well, if you don't like that mode, if you're not into country life and simplicity, then come be with me in Dwarka, where we have all kinds of opulence, and you can live in a palace, and I'll be the king, and we'll have different kinds of adventures, and we'll go into battle, and we'll do all these amazing things. So yeah, like I'll go to the heavenly planets and I'll get a whole flower tree for you if that's what you want. So so Krishna shows he shows up in different ways to attract different kinds of people. Because we're all individuals. He made us like that. He made us as individuals. So each one of us will be attracted to Krishna in a different way. And Krishna has unlimited transcendental qualities. And so each one of us will be more attracted to a certain quality or set of qualities. Like, I really like this about Krishna. So I'll be like, oh, I really like that about Krishna. Or we'll be attracted to certain transcendental pastimes, like, yeah, I really like this pastime when Krishna goes off and does this, and somebody's like, oh, I like when he stays home and does this, like that. So Krishna, he has unlimited pastimes and unlimited transcendental qualities to attract all of us unlimited souls who will take part in those pastimes. And eventually, when we perfect our lives and enjoy with him. So, yeah, that's what. So the sages are eager to hear about those pastimes. And then another amazing thing about Krishna's adventures is that it says that these are performed by his internal powers, right? Ishvarasya Atma Mayaya. So Atma Mayaya means his own internal potencies. So there are different energies, right? There's the external, Krishna has external energies, his Antaranga Shakti, and then there is his Bahir Anga Shakti means external, Bahir means outside. So there's energies that are outside, external. And then Antar means inside, internal. Antaranga Shaktis are his internal. And then there's Tatastha Shakti. The Tatastha Shakti is marginal. So it's kind of like on the border between internal and external. And so that's us. we're Tatastha Shakti. So that means that we can go either way. So that's our situation as conditioned souls, is that we can join the internal we can align ourselves with the internal energy of the Lord and join his transcendental pastimes, which are governed by the Antaranga Shakti or the Atma Maya, his own internal potencies. Or we can stay here in the material world, which is a manifestation of his Bahiranga Shakti, his external energy. The trouble with the external energy is that, it's not very pleasant, right? It's Mahamaya. And so Mahamaya, the personification of Mahamaya is, Durga Devi, who has like 10 arms, and in each arm she has like a different weapon that she uses to like poke us, whip us, and beat us, and kick us. Okay, so yeah, external energy is a little rough, but Krishna's internal energy is personified by Srimati Radharani. It is very kind, very compassionate, very sweet, very beautiful, very loving. So it's up to us to decide. We're in the middle. So we have our free will. So we can decide, do I want to be under the influence of Mahamaya, who's just gonna beat me and kick me and put me and or am I going to be under the influence and the supervision and guardianship of Srimati Radharani? So that's our choice. That's what we have to choose from. But Krishna is saying, if you want to join my pastimes, well, those are performed by my internal potency. So as long as we're choosing to be under the influence of the external potency, then we're kind of in the wrong stream. Like we took the wrong exit off the highway. Going down the highway, exit here, exit there. We took that one. Krishna's pastimes are over here. So we need to get back on the highway, and take the right exit. And we join Krishna's internal potencies. And the amazing thing is, like, Krishna, although he's the supreme controller, but it says that even his own pastimes are controlled by his energies, right? So that's very interesting, is because Krishna is the supreme controller, but we see in some of his pastimes, especially in his Braj Leela, his Vrindavan pastimes, is that he seems to be like out of control. Right? His mother's tying him up, and he's like, she's chasing him down after he broke the butter pot and made a big mess, and little baby Krishna, he's like running, and he's actually afraid of his mother. And then she catches him, and no little toddler wants to be tied up and constrained, but Krishna has to get tied up. And he's actually like, his little heart's beating and he's crying, he's really afraid, and he's really not happy with the situation, right? So how is it that the supreme controller, is who gives liberation, the awarder of liberation, is being bound? How is it that the supreme controller is being like, controlled by his mother, who's making him do things he doesn't want to do? And he's the supreme controller. So the answer is here, that the supreme controller's pastimes are performed by his internal powers. So by the Lord's own energies, specifically his Yogamaya potency, which is his internal, one of his internal energies, then even his own knowledge of his awareness that he's the supreme personality of Godhead becomes covered, right? He literally forgets that he's God, and he's totally is in the mood of just being this little, helpless child who, is being punished by his mother for doing some mischief. So that's very interesting, and that happens, again and again. So these Krishna's energies, they bring everything into place, all the different ingredients for his pastimes, all the different players, paraphernalia, the season, the mood, the environment, everything becomes perfect for his pastimes. And even Krishna's own consciousness becomes adjusted by his internal potencies for the perfection of his own pastimes. Right? Because if you're the supreme controller, it's like there's no excitement in life, right? If you're omniscient, you know what's going to happen. So there's no suspense, right? There's no feeling of like, oh my God, like what's going to happen next? Is she going to be there when I go to meet her? Is my mother going to get upset about this? What are my friends going to do? Right? When sometimes Krishna's friends tease him and they say things like, all right, Krishna, open your mouth and close your eyes and you'll get a big surprise. So he does that, he closes his eyes so he can't see. And he doesn't know what they're gonna do. Sometimes they'll put like a sweet ball in his mouth, nice buttery laddu. And sometimes they'll just put some dandelion or something in his mouth and he'll be like, he doesn't know, right? So otherwise it wouldn't be fun. He'd be like, all right, I know exactly what they're gonna do. And it would be kind of boring. So then Krishna's Yogamaya potency, his internal potency, arranges for his pastimes, including covering his own knowledge and his own capacities as the supreme controller to control and to know and to be God in all circumstances. So, these are some of the really sweet points here in this verse. Any questions or comments about this? Yes, JC.
I was just wondering, so we have our natures, and Krishna made us this way, but also we want to be a certain way. So what's the purport there? Like, how do we resolve that paradox? Are we made that way, or do we want to be that way?
You mean what way? Like the way we are right now or eternally?
Eternally, like with like our rasa?
Okay, yeah. So, yeah, I mean, Krishna, we're all parts and parcels of Krishna. So, and we all have, Krishna is Sat Chit Ananda, eternal, full of knowledge, full of bliss. And we're also Sat Chit Ananda, eternal, full of knowledge, full of bliss. But we have our individual, unique personalities. So you're saying, why do we have a certain personality? Is because, that's how Krishna made us, right? Krishna, we all exist for Krishna's pleasure. And so it's kind of like, let's say you're cooking for yourself, right? Let's say you're not a devotee, you're just cooking for your own self. So you're gonna make what you like, right? You're gonna make like, okay, I like this, but I'll make that. I'll make a smoothie for myself with all the, fruits and things that I like, and I'll make a dessert. I'll make my favorite cake. I like it. So right here, so you make the things that you like because you're going to eat it, right? So Krishna is a supreme enjoyer, so he makes everybody like in different combinations, so all different varieties that he likes, right? So he makes us the way we are because he likes us the way we are. And he makes everybody different so that everybody has a particular way of pleasing Krishna, that no one else can please Krishna in exactly that way. So that our relationship with Krishna is special. So none of us is indispensable. There's no one that can do what we can do. There's no one that can make Krishna smile the way we can make him smile. So, so Krishna wants to be with us because he wants to enjoy the relationship and the sweetness, the particular flavor, the particular rasa that comes from his relationship with us. Right. And then, so Krishna gets because we can please Krishna a certain way, but we can't please him in every way. So we give that pleasure to Krishna, and Krishna enjoys the relationship, he enjoys the way that we serve him, and he reciprocates. But from our side, we're in a sense more fortunate than Krishna because we can offer him like a little bit of pleasure. We can satisfy, his desire for a certain flavor of rasa. But Krishna can satisfy every desire that we have. Right? So Krishna needs so many different people to fulfill his desires for rasa. Right? But we only need one, and that is Krishna, because he's unlimited and he within him is everything. Because we all represent some little quality of Krishna. Some little flavor. But Om Purnamada Purnamidam, everything that expands from Krishna, although so many complete units emanate from, he remains complete. So although we all expand from Krishna, these are tiny little, souls with tiny little, proportions of his qualities in different amounts. But he maintains his completeness. So he completely has all those qualities. He has all the potential for all the rasas and all the flavors. And so he can completely fulfill our desire for any kind of experience, any kind of enjoyment, any flavor of enjoyment. It's all there with him. So he needs all of us, unlimited countless souls, but we need only him. But then we also have each other, right? Not that we're having Krishna alone, but Krishna, the eternal associates, and unlimited associates who are also our friends and family. And interact with, that we serve together for the pleasure of Krishna. So, and that's also very beautiful because I can please Krishna in one way, another person pleases Krishna in another way. And when we all work together, the more we work together, then the more pleasure we can offer to Krishna by our combined qualities and skills and talents and moods. So, so it becomes very beautiful. Sound good?
That was great.
All
Great.
right. Something else? What do you think, Josh? Any thoughts?
I think it's lines up with my own personal experience. This idea of just loving to be adventurous and I'm curious about the Vedic tradition. Like I'm in making sense of how I got here. Like I think these things match up perfectly. Like, I'm curious about the Vedic tradition, and Krishna made an arrangement for me to learn more.
Cool.
Here I am learning more. Yeah, I love to travel, I love to have fun. I love to, I don't stay in one place for too long. And yeah, this is everything I'm about. Just what else is out there? What's next? What's new? I mean, how can I enjoy today? What amazing things are gonna come find me today? Like,
Yeah.
this is sort of how I live my life. And it's amazing to see it all lined up in the text.
Yeah, well, you're gonna love Krishna.
Mm.
Because he's adventurous. I mean, even we were talking about Krishna's transcendental pastimes, his personal pastimes in the spiritual world. But even here, I mean, devotees, it's like after becoming a devotee, you have more adventures than anyone. Even my father. So my father had a great career, he's he's well off and he could do anything. But then he always marvels at my life. He's like, you travel more than any person that I know.
Mm.
Like I'm always, traveling, going to different countries, meeting new people, having like wild adventures. And he's like, I don't even know how you do it. Like, how does anyone just travel like that? So you have to like stay in one place and like work, be responsible. I'm like, devotee life. Yeah, so the longer you stay in Krishna consciousness, the more you just see how Krishna facilitates so many adventures. So there's the external adventure where you're actually like getting out there and traveling and seeing the world and meeting new people and doing new things and amazing things. And it's also an internal adventure, right? It's like an exploration, it's like a journey into the heart, a journey of self-discovery, where we're actually like finding ourselves, right? We're on an expedition internally to find ourselves and really understand who we are, souls, what is my internal personality. Right, because right now a lot of who we think we are is just, a conglomeration of all of the material conditioning that's been caked on us, for many lifetimes.
Mm.
So it's like the soul is like a diamond, shining, pure, flawless diamond, so valuable, so beautiful. But right now it's like the diamond has been in the material world so long, it's like mud's been splattered all over it to the point that it's just like a mud ball. It looks like a mud ball. And so when we look at it, we're just like, a big mud ball. And then we identify each other, we see each other as different mud balls. Like we see each other like, according to our conditioning. So when I see a person, with my material vision and all I can see is their external body and their temporary personality, I'm like, okay, that's a pretty mud ball. That one's nice and smooth. Oh, that one's really lumpy. It's got some sharp straws sticking out. I'll stay away from that one. Oh, that one's got a lot of rocks in it. Looks pretty heavy. I don't know if I'll deal with that one. Oh, this one's nice and smooth. Oh, it's even got some like pretty colors of clay mixed into it. And yeah, I really like that one. That one's attractive. Right. So we're just like looking at the mud balls and we're kind of like, it's all just relative. But then, and we're also going around with our mud caked over, it's not knowing who we are, we're seeing ourselves as the mud ball. But then the process of Krishna consciousness is purifying, right? It's like putting a scrub brush to the mud ball and just like cleaning it. And then, with water and scrubbing, and the mud is gradually going away.
Yeah.
And then as it goes away, and eventually we come to the diamond inside and we realize, oh my God, I'm not a white ball at all. I never was a mud ball. This was just like some coverings, temporary coverings. I'm actually a beautiful diamond. I'm actually a beautiful, eternally self-fulfilled, transcendental, spiritual soul. And then we start seeing others like that too, that, okay, they have this condition, but I know there's a diamond under there. And we try to help them engage them in the process of bringing the mud off their diet. Purifying the conditioning of the soul. And then as soon as that's like, 'cause that mud just makes everything ugly, but as soon as we realize like, I'm a spiritual being, I'm a blissful, knowledgeable, eternal, transcendental being, then the scope of what you can do also increases, right? Because the connection to Krishna becomes very strong, because who I am is inherently and inseparably connected to Krishna. Right? Because my identity is Jivara Swaravahoy, Krishna Devas, means that the Jiva soul, the three souls were called Jivas. So Jivara Swarup, Swarup means our own form, like our actual form of the soul is what, the position of the soul is what? Krishnara Nitya Das means, Nitya means eternal and Das means servant. So it means the eternal servant of Krishna. So my identity, when I see myself, who do I see myself as? I see that I'm actually eternal servant of Krishna. And that's who I am, it's just who I am. So my identity is connected with Krishna because I'm his servant. Right? So whenever I act, my actions are in service, in devotional service to Krishna. Everything that I do, because I'm a servant of Krishna, everything I do is in service to Krishna. I don't have an independent existence from Krishna. So the more we realize ourselves, the more we're going to realize Krishna. Because who we are is the servant of Krishna. Without Krishna, our life has no meaning. And Krishna also helps in the process, because it's actually him who's cleaning off the dirt, right? He's cleaning off the mud. We're just doing the process. We're just showing him that, hey Krishna, I'm serious about this. See, I'm getting up in the morning, I'm chanting your names, I'm hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, I'm doing everything that you said I need to do in order to get purified. So please. But he's the one who actually does the cleaning. And he simultaneously reveals not just ourselves to us, but he also reveals himself to us. All happening simultaneously. So to the extent that we know ourselves, to the extent we also know Krishna, and we know our relationship. And as we keep going forward, that becomes clear, and more ecstatic.
Like an adventure.
Exactly, that's what I was saying. So there's the external adventure of just service and travel and going places in this world. And there's also the internal adventure of self-discovery. And then when everything is perfect, then we go to the spiritual world where we're eternally engaging in like crazy blissful pastimes with Krishna every day.
Amazing.
So no disappointments. All right, anything Vanamukhi?
When Krishna says Krishna is control, heart, and love, what does it mean?
Yeah, good. So we were talking about how the supreme controller is sometimes controlled, right, by his devotees. So what he's controlled by is love. That's one of Krishna's, actually, that's one of his 64 transcendental qualities, is that he's controlled by love, the love of his devotees. So yeah, I mean, Krishna is a lover boy. He lives for love. And when somebody really deeply, purely loves him, then he'll do anything for that. Right, like Arjuna in the Battle of Kurukshetra. So Arjuna had so much love for Krishna, it's his best friend. And so when he needed help in the battle, then Krishna's like, all right, I'll drive your chariot. And so a chariot driver is considered to be like a lowly position, right? The real the hero is the fighter. The hero is the warrior who's on the chariot, standing there and firing arrows and giving directions. And actually it talks about how because in the battlefield it's so noisy, it's like tumultuous, there's like yelling and screaming and firing and screaming, whatever. So it's a noisy place. So Arjuna couldn't communicate like, Krishna, turn left, Krishna, please, Krishna, reverse, Krishna wouldn't hear him. And also he's got his hands full, so he can't like tap him on the shoulder or hold the reins or anything like that. And so then he's firing arrows, and then so how's he directing Krishna to turn right and left? He was kicking him with his foot, like you kick a horse or something to make him go. So yeah, but Krishna accepted that position of being the servant of his devotee, of even being like kicked around by his devotee on the chariot. and he accepted it very gladly, because of the love. Right, it's just like, it's like, a parent, there's so much love between child and parent. That the father, even though he may be like a highly respected, businessman, CEO or something. But when the child is like, Daddy, let's play horsey, then he'll get down on like, hands and knees, and the kid gets on his back and going around. So our nature is also that we're controlled by love, right? Like if somebody really loves us and we love them, you'll see we'll do anything, right? We'll do anything for that person. So that's because we're parts and parcels of Krishna, we also have that nature. But it's just amazing that the supreme controller, it becomes subordinate, to those who love him. And that's one of his very beautiful qualities. That he's not, even though he's all powerful, he's not on a power trip. Even though he can control everyone if he wants to, he doesn't. It's not what it's about for him. He would rather just enjoy loving exchanges with his devotees, and he is more happy to make us happy. Right? He's not, like I was saying, he creates us and he expands, we exist for his pleasure, but he's not like narcissistic that like, hey, you exist for my pleasure, you have to just do whatever I want. That's not him. He's like, you exist for my pleasure and I exist for your pleasure. Yeah. He's like, we're in a relationship, this is a loving exchange, this is give and take. We're giving and taking, it's reciprocal loving relationship. And we can experience that even now, like in the beginning of our spiritual lives, that whenever we actually really just surrender to the processes of bhakti, right? Whenever we just really say, Krishna, I'm just going to sit down and chant some focus rounds right now, sit down and really focus on my japa, chanting the holy name, then we can feel some reciprocation. Or if we do some service, maybe we have a lot to do, we're tired or whatever, but we're just like, you know what, whatever, I'm just gonna do this service for the pleasure of Krishna, whether I feel like it or not. Then you'll feel so much reciprocation, like 10 times, And Prabhupada said that when we take one step towards Krishna, he'll take 10 steps towards us. So when we do one little thing to please Krishna, he'll do like 10 times the amount of things to please us. So actually in the relationship between Krishna and us, even though he makes us for his pleasure, but the devotee ends up enjoying more than Krishna. Because if you think about it, like we were talking about that before, like I'm so small, right? I'm like a drop of water, I'm like tiny, and Krishna is unlimited like the ocean. So even if I give my best, even if I give my all to Krishna, what is that all? It's that much. But if Krishna in reciprocation gives his all to us, and he says he gives actually 10 times more, and he's unlimited, then what are we getting in return? It's like a tsunami, he's getting a drop. We're getting this oceanic tsunami, of reciprocation. So in the relationship between the jiva, this little individual soul, us and Krishna, we get a better deal. By far. Yeah. And therefore Krishna comes, he wants to come in the form of a devotee to experience that. Right? Because he can't experience that. He doesn't know what his devotees feel like. He doesn't know what it feels like to be loved by himself. Right? Because you can experience, I know what it feels like to love someone, but I don't know what it feels like to be on the other side, to be loved by. I don't know what that person, okay. I know what it feels like to love you, but I don't know how you feel by my love. I don't know how my love makes you feel, right? Because I'm not you, right? So Krishna wants to know how his love makes his devotees feel, how his devotees feel being loved by him. So he comes in the form of a devotee just to experience the happiness that his devotees feel by his love. Wow. And that's Lord Chaitanya. That's Lord Chaitanya. He's Krishna in the form of his devotee who comes to experience how ecstatic it is to be a devotee of Krishna.
What are the ways we can control him? But what are the ways we can love him?
How to love Krishna? Well, we just need to keep doing all the things that Srila Prabhupada instructed us to do, right? Getting up in the morning and chanting Hare Krishna, doing full morning program as he's taught us, serving, in different ways, and different services that we can do in this movement, and especially by sharing Krishna consciousness with others. And then what happens is that, you know, our love starts to arise, right? We're talking like as the heart becomes purified, then as souls, we naturally love Krishna. That love is there, right? Nitya Siddha, Krishna Prema, Sadhi Kabunai, Shravanadi, Shuddha Chitta, Kare that. So it says that Nitya Siddha Krishna Prema, the pure love for Krishna is inherent, right? It's natural, it's naturally there in the heart of every soul. Yeah. And then it says Shravanadi, Shuddha Chitta, Kare that. That by Shravana, by engaging in the process of devotional service, starting with Shravana, so hearing, so all the 9 processes of devotional service, hearing about Krishna, chanting his holy names, talking about him, remembering him, worshiping him, praying to him, serving him, becoming his friend, offering everything to him. So engaging in all these 9 processes of devotional service, and then the consciousness becomes purified and that love arises. Just like Udai. Udai means just like the sun rises in the morning from the eastern horizon, that love will rise in the heart and illuminate everything. And then when love for Krishna arises, then the path forward, how to love him, how to express that love, right? How that love will manifest in particular forms of loving service, that will be illuminated, that will be self-illuminated. Okay, that will become clear. Like love itself will become yeah, there's a saying that you know, when you're in love, you want to dance, and you dance spontaneously. You're not overthinking the steps, right? So love itself becomes the dance teacher, and love will move your feet. Love will move your lips and make you say it's love will move your eyes and make you look certain ways. Right? So yeah. So so our we don't have to worry about how to love Krishna, like in what ways my love going to manifest through service or through a particular relationship. We just need to work on purifying our hearts so that love will arise. And when the love starts to arise, then what to do, how to show up, how to act in that loving relationship, that will be spontaneous. You don't have to think about it. That would be directed by love itself. Okay. All right, so on that sweet note, we had better end. So thank you all very much for being here, and also for anyone who's listening online. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much for amazing class.